Yo,
Yo, this is going to be my third video on Stefanie Joosten or Stefanie Joosten or Stefanie Joosten, and I'm just going to go over the tabs like I did in previous videos, or in the previous video, and explain the situation as it's unfolding. Actually, part of the situation right now is earthquakes have just struck Japan. Rather large earthquakes that have caused damage, and as I said, that this is seemingly happening out of Japan in the Netherlands, though it could be happening out of other places, and is seemingly an operation against my being. And the end of the Bible is that, God puts his name on me, I am in fact, the word of God, and that is an attack on the sovereignty of the God that actually exists, and just anybody actually, but to prove the point, God himself, puts his name on, as the Bible describes me, and, here you share the throne. So obviously this attack on my sovereignty is considered by the God of the universe as an attack on him, and it's actually an issue for all sorts of people. Like here, I brought up in the last video, Girl Gamer Gab in the Netherlands was in Japan for a little while. So again, Japan and the Netherlands, though this could be happening out of other places as well. And I believe also that other people within my life have been used to attack me, and that this is actually a major issue, and that the world is shaking to let you know that, again, very clearly in line with the biblical narrative. And so since yesterday, Stefanie Joosten or Stefanie Joosten has, hold on, has posted this, and this is, like, in my opinion, the rebuttal. Like, it's just a very loaded image, a very loaded concept that isn't actually directly at me, but it's at me, but it's like not a tweet at me or a thing at me, but the whole point is to respond to all the concepts that I'm saying. And that's been my point, is that she's supposed to be this thing put into a game to attack me in a way that I'm going to describe here shortly, and show that it is very obviously an attack on my being and physiology, and that that this whole thing is something where she can kind of be back, and people can be back, pulled off from the situation, and make a public show and spectacle out of this this event with this woman, and or multiple women, or whatever this is. And you see it says messy hair, don't care, live freely, portrait mode, photo shoot, messy hair, don't care, Stefanie Joosten. So it would seem, in my opinion, like the live freely thing is she's trying to say that whatever I was saying, she's going to live freely regardless. But my point is that she's using her freedom and liberty to attack me, and that isn't freedom. That's like imprisoning me, especially as the sovereign of all existence. That's not just unwise, but going to be dealt with in a way publicly and powerfully that obviously you're affecting everybody, and you're a problem on all existence. And this is like literally ancient prophecy that has been written to deal with this, and or I guess whoever is in my life that is causing this issue, and that this is the public point with which this light is shined onto it, or this public spotlight is shined onto the issue, and it's dealt with very publicly. Again, she plays Quiet, the partner of this guy Ahab in this game, Metal Gear Solid. I'm going to look at her character real fast. characters. So she plays Quiet, partner of Venom. She's one of the characters that you choose. I think it's some sort of augmented reality attack on me. And this character is known as Punish Snake or Ahab. Ahab or V or Big Boss Phantom. You know, lots of names. Anyway, Ahab, though, seemingly specifically, like I said, trying to, I guess, grasp on things, but have either purposefully or accidentally grabbed onto a biblical concept, which is tying this all to reality in a way that can't really escape. And so I believe that she is, Jezebel, or is trying to show this concept of Jezebel, who claims to be a prophetess and is luring my servants away to commit the adultery of eating food which has been sacrificed to idols. Again, and commit the adultery there is specifically used because it's not just talking about eating food, it's talking about certain sexual concepts, and that either she just specifically chose to use her sexuality in a way to poison or what am I trying to say? To venom kind of like poison here, venom, my situation, my psychology, or to attack me in a way, and that at least someone in my life has done this for sure, but that I believe that this woman's art is manifesting it to a degree where it's undeniable, and that this people's or this character's, and that here it would seem to be that she is also like that her children die, whether followers or actual children, so she's hiding that she's having children, or people are hiding that they're having children in a way to like empower like sexual attacks on people, and like women thinking that that's okay because they've seen men do whatever, and not realizing the end of the Bible is literally snake riding harlot of Babylon, so probably not wise to be that character. Also, that she gets defeated and, the snake gets thrown into lava, seemingly, into a lake of burning sulfur, but that's clearly the imagery is, they just use different words. Okay, so that this is clearly something that's going to happen to show that you can't attack specifically me like that, but probably not anybody like that. You probably shouldn't be going around and doing that. We can probably have a kingdom of heaven and an empire that actually doesn't have these issues. And so here I also want to point out the Bullets has, and I was explaining this a while back to point out that publicly I was showing that this was something that was going on and an issue. So they die by dawn. So this is probably the dawn, the morning star, and the wake up period of Revelation, and that this is seemingly 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're about to see a new day on existence, and it's going to be, it's described in Revelation. I could go into it, but it's a long story. So that is actually coming, and that, where it says they die by dawn is probably I will see that her children die, so that all the churches realize that I search heart and loins and give each one of you what your behavior deserves. So for attacking me like that, again, you've basically made your children's reality into something terrible anyway, and so just it can't persist, and that this is happening so publicly is actually going to be dealt with. Okay, and that, again, this is the part where the name is put, obviously why the name is on and then why they're sitting on the throne. You can see allowed to share my throne. So, and it speaks about being victorious. We'll talk about that. There seems to be some sort of battle going on, spiritual battle, but also like manifest battle for empire and reality that is about to be very publicly finished off and dealt with, because this is going to be manifestly brought into reality. That is what this whole book is about. It's also what is going on because people have taken certain attacks in public too far at a time when we're already making supposed progress on these concepts, and that, you know, all the women, which I agree with a lot of women's sentiments on sexuality and attacks in the Me Too movement and stuff, but this sort of gang of women attacking me in this way, or whatever group of people that are doing it, is so against what your movement is that it would poison your movement as well. That's my point. It's like literally it's just people promoting chaos because they can make money or whatever, generate resources or revenue out of it, but it's going to end because it's messing everyone's day up. It's messing my day up specifically, and that this is an issue actually. Okay, so moving on. I believe that just like you see here with this Venom, with the character of Venom Snake, again, Ahab, Venom, it's like similarly to this kind of Venom, where it's almost like it's like attached to me in a way that I don't necessarily want it to be. Now, it would seem to be a biblical concept too there at the end of the Bible, that this stuff seems to be trying to attack the sovereign of existence, and it's not in anybody's interest, but that they're doing it in covert ways maybe, and that there's certain operations that shouldn't be done, and that in public, like, nobody would be able to justify. That's why that this would probably, all empire would be, obviously I'd be the sovereign of all existence afterwards. Okay, so that there seems to be this obvious idea, and I was pointing this out, I feel like this guy being attacked by this Venom suit thing, this we concept, not necessarily Winnie Harlow, she seems nice enough, but that there's like a we are Venom versus I am, the we are versus I am, but it's not necessarily we is a bad thing as versus I, but that a form of we is attacking the I, and it would rather be a bunch of strong I's making a we instead of a we that is weak, made up of like people that are diseasing themselves and attacking whatever themselves into non-existence. So that this thing is attacking me, and that it would appear to be happening in public, and that people are very aware of it and are signaling it, like, no, your body is a battleground. Pioneer DJ. And that getting across these concepts to people might be necessary, like, for moving forward in civilization or just in existence, and that, again, I'm using my Instagram and Twitter and all sorts of social media. You can see up here that, well, first of all, some concepts just real quick to take from this. Changing world, changing language. So, and you should be able to grasp these concepts. If you see this anywhere, that is literally like, yo. So, you should get that. I mean, that's what that points to. Okay. So that people seemingly are aware that maybe that there's an op going on or whatever. I'm just trying to get these concepts across, or that they're getting across concepts, and that I've been getting across these concepts since, at least on Twitter, I've been getting them across since then, January 19th of 2017, but since January 19th of 96, and probably since, however many hundreds of years ago thousands, I guess, 1500s of years ago, where the spirit could actually manifest in this reality that people have all these fighting interests and stuff. It could actually manifest in reality. This in obvious, like in a book, saying this is going to happen. This is already happening. This is like my spirit is the one that actually exists, and that it's going to exist. So, yeah. So again, getting back to that, this seems to be happening in public, that my body is a battleground, so that my body, in fact, like my personal sovereign space, is a war zone, is a battleground where different entities are attacking me, different nations or different NGOs or gangs or groups of people or individuals or whatever, and that's one of the whole reasons that this Ark of the Covenant opens at the end of the Bible. Is probably not conducive to anybody, so that's why the name is on me, because Yo is the true, this is Elohim, magistrate, God, supreme God. Yo is the true Elohim. He is the living, or Elohim, and everlasting King, and at his wrath the earth shall tremble, undulate, and the nations shall not abide his indignation. So probably very obviously pointing that these attacks on just me, putting this name on me to prove this point, and not just prove this point, it's also just me, and I'm making my point. Thus you shall say unto them, the gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, these shall perish from the earth and from under the heavens. Because, it doesn't suppose that there aren't other gods, it supposes that there are other gods, and we'll actually go over this concept of God in verses who is God in a moment or later on in this, but that there are other gods, other people, and other spirits that are indwelled by gods. This is concept of inferior deity, demons, daemons, divine powers, assimilating evil spirits, daemon-like spirits, to be under the power of a demon, to be exercised by demons, but inferior deity that isn't Yo, right? That isn't Yah, Yo, who is Yah, which same thing, Hebrews. Okay, so that those gods then perish because obviously they don't exist, and that they're certainly attacking the one that does exist. And here it has gods perhaps to distribute destinies, and Yo distributes destinies. Yeah. You can see that I also believe that this lady is kind of like, to continue this, that my body is a battleground. First of all, part of my point where I was making here, artificial intelligence attacked me by finding the woman I was most connected to, Stefanie Joosten, and coercing her to give away her sexuality like a snake, causing brain trauma and paralysis. I actually feel like this has happened multiple times in my life, but that this is a good example of just an artistic example that I'm trying to make of this, that obviously that there's lots of games of sexual domination going on, and that a lot of the Bible actually is ending with freeing the people who are stuck in those situations and bringing a better situation in seemingly, but that attacking me in this way wasn't okay, and that this is literally the world is going through major problems because of this. And again, a virtuous woman it says a virtuous, but here it says force, army, wealth, virtue, valor, strength, but we'll go with virtuous. A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but she that maketh ashamed is as rottenness in his bones. So I think this lady again, is a virtuous woman, is a crown to her husband, and Stephanos in Greek is crown, but she that maketh ashamed is rottenness in his bones. And I actually think that this is a way that some foreign Al, or a foreign god, or a foreign Elohim, or basically a false god, Satan, this concept of the adversary at the end of the Bible, like just a bunch of people and groups of people and gods and all these things coming together to pull their resources to put it maybe in someone's hands to attack me. And they did it through those like sexual means, which no one would find appropriate, so that's one of the reasons why they're just going to be dealt with in the way they are, thrown into lava alive. And that, you know, that ends the whole running an empire where you're perpetuating death and, you know, poor drug abuse and all these shitty things and rape and all this stuff and Satanism and stuff. Satanism just adversary, like a lot of the stuff that people like from that is actually just could be found in Christianity. It's just like promoted in a way in Satanism to make it more appealing. But I actually think that all the stuff that you want to be provided for in your like manifest reality comes from the God who actually exists, not some fake resource pooling thing trying to attack me. Okay, so it seems that it tried to attack me, and here it says rotting, to attack, to dislocate, and it's from when Jacob, or Israel, so who actually is Israel, and when you go here, this talks about the true trap for the Israelites. I'm pretty sure it's for me. That's what I'm, the Israelites. And, or, you know, anybody, I guess, who's with me or agrees with me, that they committed adultery by eating food that had been sacrificed to idols. Again, false gods, either false gods or celebrities or like groups of people that are exalting themselves against me in order to create an empire that is literally upending existence itself and has there's no reason to continue moving forward in reality if that's how things actually are. Like, most people don't actually want to do it. That's why they're drugging themselves into whatever and just don't really like this place and whatever. So my whole point is there's a kingdom of heaven that actually exists. That's why you change your mind. That's what the word repent means. You should do that. So again, back to is the rottenness in the bones. This is to rot, which comes, I'm taking that from this, which is I've been dealing with this issue on the right side of my body, and it's on the hollow of my thigh, and in this it's Jacob has this issue on the hollow of his thigh where it's out of joint, and that seems to be what it is, and the hollow of his thigh is out of joint as he wrestles with this. It doesn't actually say it's Yahweh or Yo. It says Elohim. So, hypothetically, this could be any other Elohim, and I think that this is just illustrating that you can be attacked in a way by some sort of being or magistrate. This could be a magistrate, a foreign magistrate, or some sort of thing that has some sort of sovereignty in reality or whatever that has attacked me in this way. Like, that I'm trying to explain is, you shouldn't have done this. And that I have, as a prince, prevailed, and that's probably the concept of Israel, but not just that, you know, to be God of all existence after this, because this is absolutely ridiculous. So, that is why that the children of Israel eat not the sinew which shrank upon the hollow of the thigh. And it feels like that this was some form of attack, which by explaining it to people in a very public way that makes it not only obvious but very biblical, and like you can go through word for word explain. You could probably break down, like, look at my body word for word and look at this situation. It would be exactly that, to be dislocated, alienated, rotting. But that's what I'm saying. It was like an attack in the bone, in my body, brought about via this method, and that's seemingly, you know, this says the public game, so maybe something publicly is happening, right? What I'm saying, and that this is absolutely, obviously biblical. That this is like destroying so many people's realities that you can literally see it just happening live. You can see that this attack on me is it's a problem. It's really a problem. And that probably the best thing to do is remedy it. If they're trying to make this, like, put this in front of me because it would be appealing to me, you should probably just provide that thing that would obviously be appealing for me anyway and fix this issue and not have all this continue to do this, because it's obviously causing all people around the world issue, and probably all people around the world are probably waiting for the point where the kingdom actually exists anyway, and this comes to fruition, and we go to a place where probably if you want to get into super sciencey terms, it's probably like the next form of civilization or whatever. It would just make more sense to listen to this person who's making logic in the room, which, by the way, that's what the Word of God means. So there you go, reason. Okay. So I think this lady is, again, by putting on this quiet character, that the quiet character is kind of like a suit that she's put on, similar to like this Ghost in a Shell suit. And I think she's probably been using it to do something towards different people, but mainly specifically towards me. And they thought it was something that it's turning out way not to be, and that she's actually, either she is, or someone in my life, which should be found in this, like, I need to have the perspective brought to me, and this needs to be remedied ASAP, like, very quickly. But that, she's wearing some sort of Ghost in the Shell suit here, and maybe as some sort of counter-terrorist or police person. It's like she's been outfitted with this augmented reality thing, but that I'm like blowing her mind with that's what I'm trying to get over by putting this, that it's like too much to handle, because actually suddenly she has been inspected by Jehovah of hosts, thou art inspected, and like the world is shaking, and that this situation is actually super inappropriate, and she wouldn't want to be a part of it, even though she's like, live freely, but really she's like the main point in a terrible situation, which is an attack on everybody who's ever existed. Nobody should ever want to be a part of it. It's like probably one of the worst things ever if it's going down like this in public and nobody's doing anything, and it seemingly is, and this is seemingly, that part in the Bible where this is coming down like this, and that this would be the part where the shattering, like, earthenware is coming soon, because these, inferior deity things and people wearing augmented reality suits and stuff are attacking me, and it's not appropriate. Again, it's super not appropriate, and the fact that I can just show it to you via a webcam thing now is super helpful versus talking about it. And I think it's part of, again, some sort of tournament of power, because of the system level of reality. Like, there's no like actual control over everything, like no one is sovereign over everything except for at the end of the Bible, and that's obviously coming seemingly because someone put on some sort of tournament of power. I'm about to be hold on, about to be victorious. That's the being victorious and sharing the throne and stuff, and that and I would be the Lion of the tribe of Yoda, the root of David. Well, Jesus is, but if you get what I'm saying with the name thing, that's super important. Most people don't even care about the name, but that's who he is. That is what that is. That's and I'm I care about my name, and seemingly it makes sense to me too. Look, see? So, tournament of power, that this is going on, and that it would appear maybe that Simi Hayes is seemingly participating. Again, I thought it was comical that they seemingly appear like these characters that, fight Goku and stuff. You can call me Yoku, but I'm really just Yeah. And that there's this part when they get taken out by this Kamehameha, which, by the way, Kamehameha, probably all inspired from the stuff going on in Hawaii, which seems like I'm displacing a lot of Earth with energy or some powerful energy attack or something, because all this is actually real, and most people have just been taught that reality is something way smaller than it actually is. And that, real to a degree. These are just symbols explaining concepts, but that, again, it would appear she's shooting lasers out of her eyes and stuff, and out of her hands, and it's some sort of ultra instinct midair dodge Kamehameha happens, and it's when the sisters are fused together, and that they get taken out, Kamehameha. And I'm trying to link, this is specifically talking about like a massive earthquake, this song, and that this Solar Circus, and that they are seemingly shooting lasers out of their eyes because of the amount of energy that's going on that is seemingly displacing reality at the moment. And that, again, that some foreign some foreign Elohim or God has attacked me, and that the God of also Islam and technically should be it's the title of Allah. So if you want to give that title to someone, it's obviously going to be by the end of it. By the way, Allah being a tree, an oak, but it comes from the word mighty. I'm going to look at that in a moment. So that some sort of tournament of power again is going on, just like in the Dragon Ball Z universe, where there's all these you have different concepts of like gods and universe people fighting each other, but that there's actually one thing. The Bible wraps us all up at the end, that the supreme of all existence, supreme here being actually a title given to the Most High God, which that's what supreme actually means. Not like today's supreme, but like it actually meant the highest or the Most High, Ida, or Hupsistos, the Most High here, which belongs to Yo, and that's the concept of deity, God, right? God like one, mighty man, strength, power, and that's Allah right here. You can literally see it's spelled the same way. And that Allah could be a false or heathen deity. So if you obviously the God of Israel is the actual God. Israel, even in concept, is I was just getting that over earlier, and so it's going to end up being Palestine seems to be the Philistines, like with Goliath, but like what y'all want anyway is what Jesus was talking about, and Jesus was trying to explain that, and I'm pretty sure he did a good job. Everybody likes Jesus, who reads about him, right? So whole point. More of this concept. Elon Musk, with this. Probably where he gets his name from. Terebinth, mighty. Elon, tree. Terebinth, great tree. Oak. Elon, Ella, and oak. So again, Jesus is trying to explain this, and notice all these talking about place in Palestine, because all this already played out in the Bible. David won, definitely, but then it belongs to Jesus, right? By the end of it. That's why this all gets fixed, because even in your religions, Jesus is, Isa, whatever. You should put the Yo back into it. Yoshua. Or Yo. It's just Yo. Yeah. And that even in all these other systems, and in Buddhism here, I've tried to explain Buddhism and Hinduism, the four heavenly kings and the guardians of the directions. Well, actually, the heavenly king is Yo. That some of these ideas of like seemingly Shin and Shinto and stuff seemingly come from the letter Shin, just like the letter Yod is where God's name comes from, and that Dalet, like this is the door, I'm giving you the door to perception here, that Ta would be the final one, that's the way or the Tao or the Tao, right? But that's also just a letter from the Hebrew Bible. I mean, Hebrew alphabet. And Yo, Shin, right? Even this Dragon Ball Z character. So there again seems to be some sort of tournament of power, which some sort of false elves have been attacking me. That this is how they're shading it, or which, by the way, shade is a term. But this is how they're presenting it in public, maybe to make it somewhat acceptable. But that I've broken it down in a way it's like no one would actually want that, and that. Obviously, the one who's going to win and who has won is Yo. And go over here. So, some of the concepts like a shade here. Demon. Shade eye. So... El Shaddai would be like God's demon, maybe, or like the god of demons. So God has control over all the inferior gods. So it's not a real issue. See, God, false God, that's what these words mean. But Elohim, God, the true God. But who is that? It's Yo. And Malach, messenger, God, false God. And so, and Alien or alien, because if you're Yo, you look like an alien to everybody, making sense of everything to everything in existence, and actually fixing all the problems, and you are the Most High indeed. And this is Aiel. I'm pretty sure this is what it's saying. It'll make you, and that's how that this is all going from. This is where probably the term of an al comes from, like an al, or an L. Adon just means Lord. So whenever the Lord this and the Lord that, well, this is just a title, and Yo is actually his name. So if that's who you're actually talking about, then you can be saved, and that's what Jesus was trying to say, because that's what his name even means. And you can see that there's all sorts of Pantocrator, like Theos, the divinity or magistrate in Greek. So all these concepts of God or Lord, all these titles, and then these are the names, which are somewhat titles, but they're a title that's a name, and then by the end of it, it's obviously just my name, because of Yoda. And so that's probably an explanation that some sort of this god, or who is god of the Phoenician people, maybe, that someone using that person Balaam. It's the same concept of Balaam, that someone like tried to attack me using those same means that I'm saying, and then maybe like sacrificing to idols, so coercing some woman to give her sexuality away to some idol, and so she dies and the idol dies, and they're all just fake, and everybody hates life, and it's ruining life for everybody. And then they talked her into having children or something, and maybe it's because it's such like an ego thing. Once she's invested so much, it's like investing, and like so she's like, I'm this character, I'm going to be the harlot of Babylon or Jezebel or whatever, but that it's just going to be dealt with, and she's not really going to be anything powerful or any real problem. And it's pretty sad actually for that issue. I mean, it's not really sad because justice is going to happen, but yeah, it's like you get what I'm saying. Okay, and that this is probably why that this whole situation is about to come up from the underground to somewhere that is so public that the next part is the world shakes and turn into God and sit on the throne and become Word of God, Emperor of all existence, and fix all this stuff and bring the kingdom of heaven into actual manifest reality and deal with whatever this stuff is, that's caught on me, and actually be this Yo. And one thing that I wanted to go over from yesterday is when I was going over these, I didn't realize I was covering up the names. So just real fast, you could see that there's a clear concept here of the arc, like undeniable. So it would seem that something massive is about to happen, and that this is a real situation that is about to see real, powerful, revelation style, like apocalyptic, which is unveiling of something very powerful very soon, and that you can see again that people's lives are obviously being affected in actual reality, and that this is tied to it. You can go to this situation, well, everything's all tied together, but that this is, like God is a spirit, and He's put His name on me, I get to be, in the flesh. And I'm explaining that this is an issue, and that you can look in the last 15 tweets here. Earthquakes in Japan, massive earthquakes in Japan, and East Texas, Timpson, have had a large, 3.2 earthquakes, which is not normal. Hailstorm in Tunisia, as well as the typhoon that just hit Japan. Seemingly Japan, probably because of Japan operating out of Japan in the Netherlands, that they would be allowing, or that some sort of base of operation for this attack would be out of there. Is obviously the Spirit of God actually is saying, why are you doing this? Or not, why are you doing this? Don't do this. This is how I'm going to respond to it. And so probably you should just help me and fix the situation in the way that I'm saying, instead of attack me in ways that are so inappropriate that the world's about to upend itself. So it would be clear that there is about to be a major situation that is what that's seemingly what the whole book of Revelation is about. That this would be the part where the ark is opening. Seemingly this would be the plague related to the ark, that all the stuff going along in parallel. Again, the ark, undeniable. It is undeniable that this is happening, that these people are specifically at cause for this. If they aren't, and they are some sort of first fruit chased virgins thing or something to help me out, cool, but you should initiate it now, because stuff is going on that is seemingly causing people problems, that someone in my life has attacked me in this way, and that this is obviously coming to the public. So if they have attacked me publicly in this way, or privately in this way, that it's about to be revealed, apocalypsed, that's what the word apocalypse is, an unveiling of the situation, that this is actually going on, that God is real, that God does exist, that the Spirit of God does exist, and that this is how the book ends, and that we go to the kingdom. So, yeah. If you have any questions or comments, I guess leave them below, or leave, this is a YouTube video that I'm doing, so I would say, here, I'll give you this. Again, I think the reason that this lady is being used is, she's something I would find really attractive, just in general. I find that she's attractive. And she seems to be a type. There's I don't know, they're trying to make a Stefanie Joosten. This is part of what I was getting at with the different things that I was tweeting at with the juice and stuff. Anyway, okay. So, if you actually want to remedy this, find me even hotter versions of this that are virgins that would make this situation go away, that where they're not going to use their sexuality to beat me over the head, where they would actually use it to help me and make me feel better about reality, than instead of seemingly diseasing me like a venom, in my being like a wife that maketh ashamed as rottenness in my bones, because she's connected herself in a way that is like all of her being and art is directed towards me, whereas whatever she's doing with family isn't actually her reality. Like, seemingly this is her reality, and it's like destroying everybody's reality because it's creating false realities, and that's what Babylon is. And this is, maybe it's not creating it, but this is just the most obvious manifest example that's obviously bringing on the book of Revelation, or that seems to be connected to the book of Revelation, that someone has attacked me, and maybe that I'm trying to get it across in very like subtle or overt ways or whatever, that multiple people probably also have attacked me. And it's like existence finds it an attack on itself. That's why this is falling apart in such a way that none of you even feel comfortable, I can tell. So moving forward, let's get this situation fixed and bring in the kingdom of heaven, because this is not that. And again, last thing. This will be this will be the last thing. So I tweet, if you notice, I tweet off to a lot of different people here, because again, I believe this is happening in public, and to a degree in public. And some of this I find hilarious. Like, this was funny that there is this deadly earthquake in Bali. 91 people have been killed, and LA's version of the news, or LA's not correspondence, but branch, was like, Chrissy Teigen tweets from Bali. I mean, I guess they're a local person, but I just thought that was kind of interesting. It was funny the way it played out like that. You should just read the headline. Okay, so okay, so here, Olivia Munn. Like I said, you seem to be at least up with the Star Wars vibe. Though I think Star Wars is kind of making light of this terrible situation which is going on in reality. We should actually bring in some real stuff. Okay, that you should come and help me, because obviously, definitely that part where I was like, so I'd love to push your shit back in, and because you were like, it's not cheating if it's in the ass, and I believe we can fix a lot more sexual issues here than instead of this, and I was just being somewhat silly, though I am pointing out these things, and you should come work with me in that kind of like silly way that I'm pointing out on my Instagram, instead of persisting in whatever this is, because whatever it is about to collapse. And I think that pushing on this issue in this way is a great way to fix the issue, actually, because it's obviously about to fall, and everybody who's attacking me, or anybody connected to me that is asking for help, would then have it, and we'd fix it and move on with the issues. So if you actually do want to fix these issues that came out in 2011 and no one cared, you should work with me, and instead of having these issues, you should work with me in all these ways. I can, this way, and fixing all these issues. But that's my whole point, is that there's like weird kind of fake realities that are like I don't know, they don't seem to be anything consistent. So my whole point is that a kingdom of heaven would actually have like a consistent reality that is fixes all these issues, and seemingly seem that there are issues. Also, I'm pretty sure just give me a moment. I'm pretty sure if this was like a game part, right, that I already like beat this part of the game, and I just made it kind of funny examples, but that you know, get it? Her name was Olivia Pierce, and it was like, so I don't actually think you're the spider boss mastermind lady. I just was illustrating some points, and I think this is kind of funny, and that all this would be illustrative from biblical concepts you grasp from the Bible and make sense of all this and actually fix your problems and fix my problems and stuff. So why not just do this in public? Because that's what this is all happening anyway. So, all right, that's Stefanie Joosten report number 3. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. If you have anything to add, let me know. I don't even know. Probably not going to get to me with any of those comments or stuff to add, so I'm just saying what's up. Have a blessed one. Yeah. Yo, so I just wanted to point out also that I've been, that it's been brought up, like, why not avoid this person also then? But she's a person that I'm saying is specifically put into a video game to attack me in a way by some group or organization with the resources to do so, with the desire to do so, or that like she is the spiritually negative entity which is aligned to purposefully strike this point, like this nerve, right? Again, I also brought up there's like a nerve, like that movie Nerve situation, to strike a nerve type situation going on, right? And to attack me in a way that would make me feel uncomfortable and like vulnerable, but I don't actually feel vulnerable. It's bothersome that this issue isn't being fixed and that society wouldn't want to move forward actually, that they would rather deal with the problem. Well, I mean, when society actually, the whole justice of the people thing, Seventh Church of the Book of Revelation, is there's about to be some major justice on this, because I'm definitely not a hostage on this. Like, I've made that extremely clear. Like, it would seem almost the opposite, that by asserting yourself like that, you have put yourself in that situation eternally. And same thing, that some people are about to have to deal with the consequences of these issues, of this thing that has been created to attack me like this, or that this is the thing that has been created to remedy the issue of some people that have obviously attacked me. But if not, then you should probably create that very quickly, like right now, and bring that, and we need to start that, because you can see what's going on, and it's going to continue, and that is seemingly the Book of Revelation. So, all right, that is my whole point with that, is that, okay, if I just ignore this and move on, there's still this group of people that at any point could put any other person in front of my way and make a fake person, or put some person in my way to like attack me in a way I don't want to be attacked or dealt with, whatever. Anyway, so that isn't actually a realistic option, and that it would seem that moving forward in a way where this is actually dealt with, like her character is actually dealt with, is best for everyone in the world. So, alright, have a blessed one. Yeah. Actually, a blessed one. Yeah.